What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Double D Report. Me and Dean are back for a consecutive week. Holy shit, 3 weeks in a row of the Double D Report. Shocking. This week, I'm hyped up about this week because we are talking about my favorite segment, our picks. We have to go over last week's picks because obviously this week's concluded. And this episode is going to be jam-packed. We're going to have fun. We're going to make fun of each other. And yeah, but Dean, I want you to start off with your picks. I'm not even going to say my record. I want you to start off with your picks.
Sure.
Cool.
I'm going to go with one of my losses here. I went with the Pittsburgh Steelers, -3. I really did truly think they were a better team than the Seattle Seahawks. I kind of still do think they're a better team than the Seahawks. I think this was a pretty big letdown game on their part, right? They had so much hype going into the Jets game, especially with the notion of Aaron Rodgers going back to MetLife, right? So he was definitely a little bit of adrenaline pumping. Big letdown week, which is a shame. The Steelers not only didn't cover the 3, but they did lose outright. So not a pretty loss for them. Maybe they bounce back next week, maybe not, but that's my first L.
Okay, I don't know. What should I start with? All right, I'm going to go with my first win. And it's actually the one I'm very proud of. I'm going to go with my Baltimore win against the Browns. The Baltimore did win. I believe it was 40-16, somewhere around there.
41-17.
41-17. And one thing I will say that I'm extremely proud of, I did say in the last podcast that I thought they would have won by 20. I said the alternate spread would have been 20. And that covered. So that's one of my wins this week. Now, Dean, would you like to go into another L, or you want to go into another one of your wins?
I'll go with. I'll finish off the L's here. Okay, I went Broncos -2.5, and I guess I mean at this point I clearly am either underestimating the Colts and Daniel Jones, or I'm overestimating the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. I'm not too sure yet. It is week 2, so I'm trying to give Nix and the Broncos a little bit of a leeway. I feel like they should have won this game. We're not gonna. I mean, the end of the game is a little controversial as well because there was a penalty when the Colts did miss the game-winning field goal originally. However, even if they miss that field goal, I still lose because the Denver Broncos don't cover. Right? It was 2.5. Even if they miss the field goal, they only win by 2. But the Indianapolis Colts win the game, 29-28, buzzer beater field goal to end the game. Indianapolis Colts, Indiana Jones. I mean, something to be said, right?
He's in the MVP voting. He hasn't turned over the ball. Okay, I'm kidding. But
and to allow you to speak.
I'll stop. But I'm gonna go to another one of my wins. I chose my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe it was a 1.5 spread. And the Eagles were favored to win going into it. But overall, during the week, it was kind of mixed feelings on who was going to win, who was going to lose. But I did pick the Eagles. The Eagles did win without Jalen Hurts throwing more than 125 passing yards. Pretty much just controlled the run game and stopped them on defense when they had to. Even though kind of lucky when it comes to Travis Kelce dropping a ball that was in his hands and landing in Makuba's hands. But hey, a win's a win. 2-0. I'm happy.
Yep, just another situation to prove that Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. However, moving on, right? We're going to go to my one win for the week. Not even going to allow you to say a word on that. We're going to go to my one win for the week. I did go the Los Angeles Rams over the Tennessee Titans, -5.5. I think a lot of the spreads in the beginning of the year, just by a lot of people in spread pools, is bullying the Tennessee Titans, right? They're supposed to be in a rebuilding team. Have Cam Ward at the helm, for, number 1 overall pick. They're really just trying to rebuild this franchise and trying to build it up to something that'll actually make the playoffs in the next 2 to 3 years. However, that's not going to be the case this year, right? So I kind of figured the Rams are a much better team. Puka Nacua just absolutely dominating the first 2 games of the year. Even Devontae Adams looks great on the Los Angeles Rams. So definitely a nice, sizable win there. They wound up winning by 14 points, definitely covering the 5.5. Nice to end my spreads on a little bit of a high note.
Well, that's good, Dean. You went, what, 1 for...
1 and 2.
1 and 2 in your spreads? That's solid. Better than last week, I think.
No, it's the same dick.
I'm going to go with another win. I picked the Patriots to actually have a good bounce back week against Miami, who in the past few years they have struggled against. Kind of Miami legitimately owns them, but this year, not the same. Miami was favored to win this game. I think it was the same thing as the Eagles, where it was 1.5. And I chose the Patriots. They did cover. They did win. And I'm very happy about that. So that is me, Derek, going 3-0 in my spreads.
Good for you, little buddy. Good for you.
Now, Dean, you go with your lock now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my lock, which is the bright side of our things, right? We're both 2-0 entering the week. Derek will obviously say as in a second. But I did go San Francisco 49ers for my lock. This happened to be a bold pick right after we recorded this podcast because Purdy went down, and he's going to be out for, I think it's 2 to 5 games, 2 to 4 games, something like that. So really, their entire offensive scheme, right, under Mac Jones is going to be surrounding CMC. And I guess, I don't want to say I'm lucky, right? The San Francisco 49ers are clearly a better team than New Orleans Saints. But at the same time, it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. And that's mainly because of all the injuries that the 49ers continue to sustain on the offensive side of the ball. It's actually getting crazy at this point, how every single year they seem to have some horrific injuries, right? Last year it was Ayuk. This year it's already Purdy and Kittle. And last year, by the way, CMC. So they really need to get the ball rolling and just stay healthy. But on the bottom line it is a dub. My lock of the week, I stayed perfect.
Okay. Good job, Dean. Good job. I'm going to go to my lock of the week. It was a team that I legitimately said I'm not going to probably pick them again. Because they're a good team, don't get me wrong, but their matchups are pretty hard throughout the year. So, I chose the Cardinals against the Panthers. Honestly, the game did scare me towards the end when they didn't recover the onside kick. That was very scary. I just kind of shit in my pants. But they did come out to win. Kyler Murray played a solid game. James Conner scored, and one thing that happened it was nice to see for the Cardinals is their defense did play well during the game. Even though in the fourth quarter it made a 4-point game, but it was close. It was a good defensive played game, and obviously just let off the gas in the fourth quarter. But Dean, I have a question for you. What is that record for this week?
2-2.
No, for me. For
you, a nice, perfect 4 and donut.
Can I hear that one more time?
No, you're not getting it one more time. I said it once. Shut your mouth.
I'm just saying, after a horrible week for me bouncing back and going 4-0, that's quite impressive.
Look, you can have these small little weekly victory wins, all right? We'll look at the end of the year when we add them all up and see how we both did, okay? So enjoy this while it lasts. It ain't going to last long.
You better hope to God I don't go 4-0 next week.
And we can move forward.
All right. Well, Dean, that does conclude the best segment in the world, our picks. Watch next week. I'm going to say it's the worst segment in the world. I don't want to speak about it. I want to die. But, Dean, there's a lot of shit that went on this week, even Sunday and Thursday and Monday. What would you like to go into first?
I think we do have to go the best game of the week. And I don't even think it's deniable at this point, right? It was Dallas Giants. And I don't think anybody in the world could have predicted that going into this week. The Giants put up 6 points in their week 1. Dallas didn't score a point in the second half of their week 1. Everybody thought this was really just going to be a pretty big shit show of a matchup. And it wound up being an instant classic, right? In the series of Dallas versus Giants. Once again, it didn't end the way the Giants would have hoped, right? Dak Prescott, I think, remains like a perfect 12-0 or 13-0 against the Giants. We fucking blow, for anybody who doesn't know that. But it was such an entertaining game, right? I think that's where we have to start, just because not only did it go into overtime, 40 to finish on a walk-off field goal by Dallas, winning 40-37, but the offense was explosive. Not to only mention, Derek, and you could go into it, the fourth quarter was just pure football cinema. It
was so what as a NFC East, but I'm going against the two teams who are in my division. I do hate them both, but it was a great game. Seeing Malik Neighbors shine with a quarterback who's actually able to throw the football. One thing I will say about Russell Wilson, is he arguably has one of the best deep balls in the NFL now. Because those perfect throws that he was throwing to Wandale, to Malik Neighbors, and etc. These deep balls, they're like in the air for what seems to be 5 seconds, and then just drops perfectly in his hands.
Yeah, the throws were perfect bread baskets, right? Especially the last two, which was in the fourth quarter, both of which to take the lead, both of which we would relinquish the lead on the following drive. However, Wandale and Malik Neighbors, they exposed the Cowboys defense, right? And the Giants, props to them, props to their offensive play calling, continued to exploit it, which is why we're always, hammering on Dable and Kafka, Dable, the head coach, Kafka, the offensive coordinator, to try and get a system going, right? To try and get a perfect, game plan going within these games. And they did that. Right, they saw the weakness in the Cowboys defense where they were missing Bland, one of their top paid corners, and they just continuously threw it deep. And then to your point, props to Russell Wilson, right? Let Russ cook a little bit. He cooked. He really did. This game is not on him. It's really not on the offense. It's more or less just on that the defense was on the field so many times that they were completely shot by the end of the game and couldn't stop a nosebleed. But to be fair, neither team could. So it was just a really good game, and I can get into it in a second, but Derek, I need you to discuss maybe, does Dallas have a chance at making the playoffs following this game, in your opinion?
Hell no! There is no snowball shot in hell that football team sees the playoffs. I know the Giants have good players on their team. Malik Neighbors, underrated player, Cam Scatabo. I know he just got drafted, but that kid's a dog. Tracy, Wandale Robinson. I'll give Slane a little bit of some props, and then etc. But the fact of the matter is this, is you just traded Micah Parsons, arguably one of your best defensive pass rushers in the league. He's top 5, in my opinion. You trade him away, you get Kenny Clark. I then see on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Russell Wilson having with one of the worst offensive lines in football. The Giants might have the worst offensive lines. It's up there with the Bengals. But seeing Russell Wilson have at least 10 seconds to throw the fucking football and not have any pressure on him and him having enough time to stay in the pocket and make all these deep ball passes, it's absurd. And it shows that how good Micah Parsons was, and you let him go for Kenny Clark, who's obviously, I think he has a sack and a half in these 2 games. I believe it's a sack and a half. It could be 2. But the fact of the matter is this. I understand Cowboy fans are saying, oh, we scored 37 points. It's good. It's this and that. You did not win the game because of your quarterback. Hate to break it to you, you didn't. You won because you have a robot kicker. That motherfucker made a 64-yard field goal. In fantasy, in some leagues that you're in, he had 23 fantasy points. He had more fantasy points than Derrick Henry and a lot of big-time players. So, they are in big fucking trouble, and if they go against a competent team, no offense, they go against a competent team, they're going to get shelled and dismantled. Their defense is going to get picked apart, because 1, Travion Diggs is overrated, and 2, Darian fucking Bland is overrated. They're both overpaid cornerbacks who you choose to pay 2 cornerbacks instead of paying a defensive pass rusher.
Yeah, no, there's a few things in this game, right? I do want to get on the Giants because there was definite positives to take from this, right? Especially considering how bad we've been the last few years. You try to move forward, you try to take positives each game by game, try to get better. And I think they did this game. However, I want to say a couple of the worst areas, right? I don't know what it is. It could be God hates us. It could be that Roger Goodell is, doing something with the footballs against the Giants, right, where they're remote controlled on the field goal kicks. 21% of 60-yard field goals in the NFL have been against the Giants since 2014. It is astonishing, Derek, to see how all of these 60-plus yard field goals, and most of them, mind you, to either tie or win the game in the fourth quarter or overtime, are not only, they're not even nail-biters, they're automatic. They're right down the fucking middle. There is no ifs, ands, or but about it. You could literally send a freight train through the line, and somehow the football is just going to go right through it into the uprights. It's astonishing to me. I think there's foul play, and I'm going to have to email the NFL about this.
They're not going to email you back.
That being said, unfortunately, you can't do anything about this, right? Especially when you're going against a guy like Aubrey, who is quite literally, as you mentioned, the word automatic. The other disappointing thing is the Giants maybe have the worst offensive lineman left tackle backup in the entire NFL. If you watch the first drive, anybody out there, he had an NFL record-breaking 4 penalties. 4 penalties in the first drive alone. 2 personal fouls where one of them he literally just punched a guy in the head for no particular reason. And then 2 false starts. Horrific. Absolutely horrific. Andrew Thomas, if you are listening to me, for the love of God, get healthy and get back in the game. Right? That's I wanted to go to the negatives first. Now you got to look at the positives, right? You mentioned a couple of them already, Derek. Malik Neighbors seems to continue to be a legit wide receiver, top 5 maybe in the NFL, which is awesome to see. Right? The Giants, when they've been successful back then, have always had good receivers. Whether you look at 2007, where they had Toomer and Plaxico Burress, or whether you look at 2011, where they had Akeem Nicks and Victor Cruz, right? They're always centered around good offensive weapons. Number 2, you mentioned as well, Derek, Cam Scatabo. This kid looks electric. When he runs the ball, you want to run through a wall watching him play. It's awesome to see. It's kind of astonishing that he even got to the 4th round. Right, when you watch him run the football. Then you got to look at some other things. You mentioned we do have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. However, they were able to give a little bit of time to Russell Wilson. So maybe they're improving. Maybe. I don't want to go too deep into that because maybe next week they give up 7 sacks and I want to blow my head off again. So I don't want to get too deep into that. And then other areas that you could just look into, coaching, which is a huge one, which is always the center of focus around the Giants because obviously, going into this year, we thought Dable was going to be on the hot seat. We thought Joe Shane was going to be on the hot seat. They probably still are, but this was a very good coached game by Brian Dable, by the offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka. So it's definitely good to see. They definitely have some more work to do, especially going into this week against Kansas City. But overall, I'm kind of pleased with the game. Despite the loss.
Yeah, you didn't lose to the Cowboys as a team because CeeDee Lamb still sucks. I'm kidding. He's still good. He had a semi comeback week. George Pickens seems like a waste of space though. He literally, I don't know what it is. He just visibly looking at it doesn't look like he fits on the team. But hey, now I have to ask you a question. This week we saw Jackson Dart be implemented into some plays with the read options to change the vision on, instead of Russell Wilson doing a read option, it's Jackson Dart. How do you feel about the Giants implementing that into their playbook?
Good and bad. The good side of it is I've been vocal about this. I don't want him to touch the field this year as a quarterback because I want him to sit behind veterans like Russell Wilson, like Jameis Winston, and learn. You see a lot of quarterbacks around the NFL have success that way, and personally, I just think that's the way to go, especially with a young kid who has good talent, but he's raw. So I do like the fact that they're able to get him on the field a little bit, right, just to give him that taste of game time without him having to throw a pass, without having him, too much pressure on him. As you saw, the one play that he actually did keep it, he slipped. So those nerves were there. I get it. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him seeing the field, these 1-2 plays, read options, maybe even throwing the ball once or twice, just to try to give him a taste of the NFL, the fan experience, all that, the pressure. On the flip side of it, right, I don't like it because now you're setting the precedent of him coming into the game and defenses are literally just going to start thinking run. And I don't want him to have that mindset either because he is much more than a running quarterback. He has a very good arm. He has a very good mental for the game, for the playbook. If you're going to bring him in for these 1 games, I do want to see Dable implement maybe the threat of a pass, right? Maybe a little rollout pass to a tight end or something like that, just to keep defenses thinking, just to keep Dart sharp. I don't want him to get so run happy. That's when injuries happen. That's when bad things happen, and I don't want that. So it's good and bad. I don't mind it. Right? It's when he officially starts a game, if it's going to happen this year, then I'm going to be a little pissed. But for now, I'm okay with it.
All right, because obviously for some Giants fans, they're just like you. They don't want to see Jackson Dart in. They want to see him I'm going to call it the Patrick Mahomes method. Sit behind a veteran quarterback, see how they are, see the playbook, learn the playbook, play the next year when the contract is done. Which I really like. It's kind of it's not really what the Eagles said, but it's good to have a quarterback sit behind veterans.
It's what Mahomes did. It's what Jordan Love did, which was a huge thing for him. It's what a lot of good quarterbacks do. It's becoming more popular in the league now, right? And the mindset is tough because when you draft a quarterback in the first round, your entire franchise is expecting him to start right away.
Exactly.
So I get that portion of it, but at the same time, you want to do what's best for him and your team, so you have to maybe take it slow sometimes. You can't just throw him right into the fire, especially when the team has no aspirations of making the playoffs.
Exactly. Dean, is there anything more you would like to discuss about this game?
No, I think we hit it. Definitely didn't expect going into this podcast or this week to kind of have the words utter my mouth. Best game of the week, New York Football Giants against Dallas Cowboys. But here we are.
Yeah. But now we got to go to some sadness for some teams, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. They did lose Joe Shiesty for, I believe, it's 2 to 3 months.
It's probably going to be on the 3-month side. He's going to have surgery on his turf toe.
Which seemingly damn near takes him out for the whole year.
Close to it, yep.
So that does suck, but one thing I will say, there's one thing to blame in all this, and it's the goddamn owner. I'm so sorry to say this. Actually, I'm not sorry to say this. You have to be so moronic to not get an offensive line to protect that quarterback. Let me just say this. Andrew Luck, who retired, I believe, in 2019, it was?
2020, 2019.
2019, yeah, around there. He got sacked 86 times in his career. And he got drafted in 2012. Through 86 games. Through 86 games.
Okay, yes.
My bad.
Hey, do you need the stats? I have them pulled up. Yeah, I was ready for this.
Yes, I want you to actually start this, and I'll piggyback off of it.
No, that's fine. You're 100% right on everything you said, right? I was going to say, what we're seeing with Joe Burrow is a carbon copy of what the Colts did with Andrew Luck. To your point, just reading the stats off of your point, Andrew Luck started 86 games in his career. He got sacked 174 times, which is absurd, mind you. Right? That's over 2 sacks a game. Joe Burrow has started 15 less games in his career, 71, and he has been sacked, it's crazy to even say out loud, 27 more times. 201 sacks in 71 games. That's almost 3 sacks per game against Joe Burrow. It's just crazy how you don't protect your investments, especially when they're this type of caliber quarterback.
He is a very, very good quarterback. And the poor guy is running for his life. Even going back last week, Myles Garrett sacked him 2.5 times. He sacked him back to back. How do you let that happen? I'm sorry. It's honestly despicable, and it pisses me off. Obviously, I'm lucky. The Eagles have Jalen Hurts, and we have one of the best offensive lines, so he's protected. But if you have Joe Burrow, who is, I believe, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, you would think you would want to protect your investment. But no, instead, this motherfucker every single year is getting hurt because he's getting sacked every 2 seconds. He has maybe a minute and a half to throw the ball. A second and a half to throw the ball. If that. And it's so aggravating to see that owners are just like, you know what, I'll pay T. Higgins, I'll pay Jamar Chase, I'll pay all these guys, I'll pay Trey Hendrickson. Don't get me wrong, I'm saying all these players that are great players who deserve money. But you got to surround your quarterback with an offensive line. If you don't have... No, you can go. Yes.
No, I was going to say, and if you look at the winners around the league as of recently, there is a blueprint for it, right? Their star quarterbacks are being protected. Look at the Eagles having the best offensive line in the game, maybe top three, right? You can argue top three against some others. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, what they've done for Patrick Mahomes over the course of his career. Look at just the Rams as of recently, right? What they did for Matthew Stafford being able to go win a Super Bowl. These teams, if you're able to protect your investment, if you're able to protect your quarterback, you could do so many other things because not only does your quarterback get better because he has more time to throw, the receivers get better because they have more time to get open. Your running game gets better because there's holes to go through, right? We saw it with Barkley firsthand last year, where I think Derek could have maybe rushed for over 1,000 yards.
I think so.
So it's just that much more of importance moving forward in the NFL because it's very rare at this point where a team doesn't have a good offensive line and they're able to make it far. Look at another example, right, where you have Super Bowl contenders. Look at the Ravens, how they're able to manipulate the two-run system with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's because they have an offensive line to be able to do it. And on top of that, shameless plug, by the way, quarterbacks are not built like they were used to. Right? You look at some of the all-time great quarterbacks, just in our lifetime, Derek, just in our lifetime, who got the absolute shit kicked out of them on a weekly basis and would get back up just because how the NFL was different, right? Quarterbacks were tougher. There weren't all these rules to protect them because they were soft or because they wanted to protect their investment. They got fucking clobbered in the backfield, got back up and continued to drive. Just Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and then my GOAT, Eli Manning, which not a lot of people, NFL fans know this. Eli Manning really didn't have a great offensive line throughout his career. In 236 games, he got sacked 411 times in his career in the regular season. Over 400 times he got sacked, Eric.
That's despicable.
Not to mention two of his top three highest seasons of sacks were his Super Bowl years. So quarterbacks back then knew how to take it, and I'm not, and look, and don't misconstrue me, right? I'm not saying this is Joe Burrow's fault. But I'm just saying times have changed. So NFL teams and GMs have to change with them. You have to prioritize your offensive line moving forward.
Yo, if Joe Burrow played in the times of Ben Roethlisberger, exactly all those players you were saying, he would be like Tua. No offense to Tua or anything. It's just the fact of the matter is that Tua is he's concussion-ridden quarterback. He gets a lot of concussions. Some of them he's charging headfirst into a safety. Some of them it's him getting blown up in the backfield. But Joe Burrow, and this is one thing I want to say. Earlier in the year, I did say Zach Taylor is on the hot seat. I'm going to refrain that statement. And the reason why I'm saying this is because at the end of the day, signing all these free agents, yeah, you could, as a coach, you could say, I want this, I want this, I want this. But they're not the one who are paying the money. Who I want on the hot seat this year, and potentially I want fired by the end of the year, I want the GM fired. Because I understand you just paid all these wide receivers, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Hendrickson. 3 great players. But you need a fucking offensive line. As what we said, it's the blueprint. You need an offensive line to protect your quarterback. If you don't protect your quarterback dies.
And I do want to reiterate, it's not like we're saying these quarterbacks are weak by any means, right? It's just a different style of quarterback play over the last 5-10 years. There are still quarterbacks from who have old school mentalities who fucking take hits and they get right back up. One we saw literally last night, Baker Mayfield. That guy is a fucking animal. I wouldn't want to meet him in the hole. He gets right back up and he starts shit-talking you. It's a beautiful thing, right? You look at Josh Allen as well, right? No sliding for that man. He lowers his shoulder and he goes right fucking into you. It's just there's certain quarterbacks in this league that are definitely more injury-prone than others, and we've seen it with Joe Burrow. We've seen it with a couple of others throughout the league, right? Kyler Murray having leg issues. Lamar Jackson earlier in his career, right? Having a knee issue. But he's been fine since because they've protected their investment more, right? So there's just ways to go about it. And I think NFL teams really have to move forward with the mentality of if we're going to be successful in this league, we have to protect our quarterbacks and be able to have, at the very least, a competent offensive line where they're not getting sacked 2-3 times a game every single game.
Well, one thing that I could say, and I believe you would agree with me, is what I've learned in all sports is that these owners, these GMs, they don't give a fuck about the players. They don't give a fuck about the team. They just want money coming in. Because at the end of the day, there's no simple reason to why you don't get an offensive line. I know I keep on saying this, but it's just so aggravating to see how good of a team they have. Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Gesicki, he's good. The backup running back, Pirine, good. All these players that they have, they're good players. But instead, you don't want to protect any of them. And now think about it like this. Jake Browning, who pulled out a great one against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He died. I think he got sacked 3 times that game. Now, obviously what's going to be happening, Jake Browning's going to go into this week being the starting quarterback. Could be fighting it between Brett Rippon, I believe.
Rippon.
Yeah.
Ripien?
I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But you're going to be fighting for that job. But you're going to now pretty much have to force feed your best players. You have to. If you want to stay competent for maybe the playoffs, I would expect Jamar Chase to be expecting 15 plus targets a game. T. Higgins maybe like on the 10 side. And Chase Brown, they're going to be running it a lot. And it's going to be killing obviously there is a lot of like shit in the NFL to help out with this, but it's going to be killing their body. With no offensive line, they're going to be taking hits. They're going to be throwing, as we say, hospital balls. And it's going to be rough for them. And the fact of the matter is that it's the GM and the owner's fault, and there's no one else they can blame.
Yep.
Whew.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This shit just pissed me off. Dean, I think you could segue into the next topic. I need to cool down for a bit.
So we don't have a mailbag this week to all the fans out there, but we have a couple of points that were kind of, made us aware of in comments. And one of them in particular, because me and Derek on this channel, we talk a lot about, honestly, 1 and 2 at the quarterback position in the NFL. And we always talk about how when they play each other, we talk about them we compare them constantly. Right, in Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And usually we give the edge to Josh Allen just a bit because him and the Buffalo Bills typically do beat the Baltimore Ravens in different areas, especially in the regular season and then a couple of times in the playoffs. So there is one aspect, though, I do want to mention that a person in the comments made me aware of where I want to give the ultimate praise to Lamar Jackson, right? He had a massive feat coming out of this week in the NFL. Let me pull up the tweet here really quick just so I know for a fact that it is correct. Perfect. Lamar Jackson, if you didn't know already, Derek, I think he broke this last year. He has the most rush yards in history for a quarterback. Not to mention, following this past game this week, Lamar Jackson is currently the all-time leader in NFL history in passing rating at 102.64.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
I did not know that.
So I have to give some praise to him because, yes, while we give him shit, right, maybe we have all these stereotypes out there that he's not a playoff performer, he's got to do it at the biggest stage, his team hasn't made it past the AFC. Right? So he has no arm, he's a running back. We have all of those narratives. However, when you look at this, right, when you look at it from a stat perspective, even just watching the game, this guy is an elite talent. We may never see another quarterback like that for a long time. So not only, yes, is he the best, it's undisputed, the best running quarterback of all time, right? He is now, and maybe this is short-lived, next week he could have a passer rating lower than 100 and then it goes down. He's still playing. But now he is currently the all-time leader in pass rating.
That's insane.
Which is unbelievable, right? This guy is multiple-time MVP. rushing yards leader in history, passing rating leader in history. I was talking to my friend about this. There is quite literally nothing left at a quarterback level for him to accomplish in his career already, except this. And that's where your legacy comes into play, right? Because you got to win a Super Bowl in order to be immortalized in NFL history. But I got to give him props. I mean, so much shit has been given to him just because, he's a running quarterback. But when you look at stats like this, the guy is all time. He's one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in our lifetime. And the only reason we give him shit is because he hasn't gotten past the big moment yet.
I did not. That's actually a crazy stat. What is it, 101.3 you said?
102.64, so 103, yes, just about.
That is fucking absurd. And
it is.
Only thing we can do is give him praise, because we all shit on him for being a not good passing quarterback or running back, as you said, stereotypes. But this is what proves that, these stats prove that Lamar throws the ball very efficiently. When he's throwing the ball, he's completing it a good percentage of the time. Which is, I'm taking a wild guess. I don't know the exact number. Probably like 70% of the time.
I mean, look, a good completion percentage for a quarterback is anywhere above 65. I believe I just looked it up. His career percentage, mind you, just off the top of my head, is 65, and this year it's at 69%.
Which is very good.
Yes.
And and that's so crazy to me, because I've always...
he really typically doesn't throw interceptions that much.
How many interceptions does he have in his career? Because you have stats up.
For touchdowns versus interceptions in his career, 172 to only 49.
Are you dead ass?
That's how good he's been, right? And look, I do want to reiterate, he's still playing. The top 5 on the passing leader list are still playing, right? Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Burrow, Wilson. They're all still playing. So
Where's Allen?
Huh?
Where's Allen?
Josh Allen, 21.
Holy shit.
At the same time, right, you can argue, yes, right now he's the best passing rating quarterback in NFL history. He's played 8 years. This is his 8th season. So we don't want to harp too much on it, but it's a pretty big sample size. 8 years in the NFL and you're number 1 all time in this category. Yes. Right? Aaron Rodgers has played 20 years, and he has a 102.6 rating, right? He's right on his heels. Mahomes has played a year longer than Lamar Jackson. He's only 1 point behind Lamar. Joe Burrow, still early in his career, only 5 years. Russell Wilson's played, 13 years. You got guys on this list like Tom Brady, who has a 97 rating, but he played 22 years. So there's a lot more career to be played by Lamar Jackson. But I do want to give it, at this stage in his career, we haven't a big enough sample size where you could say this is an unbelievable feat.
Yeah. Wow. It's one thing Ravens fans should be happy for, to even know, because obviously, he just broke this, right?
This past week, yep, because he went up, Aaron Rodgers went down slightly.
Wow. So, by Aaron Rodgers' shitty game, it benefited Lamar by that stat.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, the sample size is that much larger for Aaron Rodgers, so what he does in a game is affected very minimally, where Lamar Jackson can, fluctuate it a little bit more per game. But at that same time, this is still unbelievable. Overall,
congratulations to Lamar. That is a good accomplishment to have in your only 8 years to be in that spot. Obviously, there's still active players in the top 5, you said?
Yeah. I mean, there's active players all over this list. I kind of just named the top 5, like I mentioned: Lamar, Rodgers, Mahomes, Burrow, and Wilson. But they're all over. Dak is even up there. Believe it or not, you're not going to like it. He's not going to be in the league much longer. But Tua is up there. Justin Herbert is up there. Jared Goff is up there. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, etc. So there's a lot of different opportunities around the league to get here. But he's just been such a model of consistency that it needs recognition.
Overall, as we said, congratulations to fucking Lamar Jackson. For once, I don't have anything bad to say about the guy.
Yeah, look, he has one thing left to accomplish in his career, and he's got to do it over the next 2 to 3 years probably, because he's most likely never going to get a better team than he has right now. He's got to win a Super Bowl.
Now, if he gets that ring, where would he be ranked and like the leaderboards, like in your eyes?
All time?
No, not all time. And just like in the current NFL, because I think we have him at 2. If he'll be 1, correct?
Current NFL, if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he's the best quarterback right now in my eyes.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you're looking at accomplishments throughout the career, no, he's not 1. It's Mahomes so far. I mean, you're not going to beat that right now at this stage, right? But if you're going on a year-by-year basis, next year, I mean, he was 1 or 2 going into this year with Josh Allen. There was nobody disputing that whatsoever. So if he were to win a Super Bowl this year, he'd go into next year undisputed number 1 currently.
Okay.
That's just, that doesn't need to be even said, to be honest.
Yeah, you're 100% right, actually, which I hate to fucking say. Ugh.
Oh, shut up.
But is there any other questions that you had? Because you kind of worded that there was more than one.
There is one more. I'm reluctantly going to say this because it's not exactly, it hits home a little bit. It's tough to say, right? But I did see the comment. I did promise this person that I would say it on the podcast, talk about it. I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit, Derek, but it is a Daniel Jones stat.
Oh, no.
It is a Daniel Jones thing. The Indianapolis Colts are the first team in NFL history to start the year in the first 2 games without punting the ball. So, look, you can attribute that if you want to Daniel Jones. You can attribute that to, new offensive play calling. You can attribute that to a bunch of different things, but it is a pretty remarkable feat for a team like the Indianapolis Colts to make this record in NFL history where they haven't punted, not once, in the first 2 games of this year.
You might as well just put Anthony Richardson at fucking punter and have him be the fucking do fake punts, if anything, because this is insane. Indiana Jones, yes, I'm calling him Indiana Jones, is playing phenomenal. He is playing great football. Some things that Giants fans are just like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this now? But in reality, look what happens when he gets an offensive line. He has weapons to throw to. He has a running back to hand off to. Well, obviously, he did have Saquon at the time. And now he has Jonathan Taylor, who he ran for, 165?
Look, you do you, man. I'm leaving this to you segment. I'm depressed as it is.
But, all right, let's just say this. Because I don't think there was a question in this. It was just a stat.
It's like a Lamar thing, right? It's a stat. It's a statement that had to be said.
Okay, yes. I think I did see this stat because people are saying that Daniel Jones fits well in the system, all this, that, and the third, and I agree. I hate to fucking say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it because he's not in my division anymore. Daniel Jones is playing the best football I've seen him play in his tenure in the NFL. And it's not even a fucking debate. I know it's only 2 games. And this is everyone's going crazy. It's week 1 and week 2. They're playing great. But that team is fitting so well. It is just absurd to me. It's getting everyone involved. The rookie, Alex Warren, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know what his first name is. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. You're upset, Dean. I understand. I would be too. Because you guys drafted Daniel Jones, 8, 9, somewhere in the top 10. And he did dick for you. You paid him the money. He got his guaranteed money. And then you said, fuck you, go away. And now he's getting paid, $18.5 million in Indianapolis with an offensive line. And he's playing phenomenal football to where his team hasn't had to fucking punt when punting is a part of the rules of football. That is absurd.
So, all right, now, I've had enough. All right? I'm going to say something, and this is, you know what? You forced me because it is derogatory towards Colts fans.
Oh, God.
And it's going to be derogatory towards the Colts as a franchise. Yes, they've had a good start. Yes, they've gone 2-0. They played the Tennessee Titans. No, my bad. Yes, they've gone 2-0, right? This last game against the Denver Broncos was a very good win. I give them props for that one. However, they have the 25th ranked schedule in terms of hardness in the NFL this year. For anybody who knows math, that's towards the bottom. What I am seeing now is equivalent so far to the New York Giants run that they had with Daniel Jones 3 years ago, where they had a shit schedule. They would win games. People were like, oh, maybe they're good. And then come playoff time, they're absolutely going to get shit pumped against one of the juggernauts in the NFL, right? The Giants 3 years ago with Daniel Jones was the Eagles. You absolutely routed us. This year, whether it's the first or second round, they're going to run into the Buffalo Bills. They're going to run into the Baltimore Ravens. And they are going to get absolutely obliterated. And then I will have the final laugh in this situation.
You better hope to God that happens. You better start praying now.
I don't have to hope. It is. They're not good. They're not even close to those top tier teams. And I'm tired of hearing Colts fans come at me for Daniel Jones being Jesus.
But, Dean, I just got to say this to you. If you want to rewind time a little bit, and you want to go to the predictions that we made about the NFL season, about who's going to win the division, who did you say was going to win the AFC West?
I'm pretty sure I said the Jaguars.
No, that's not the AFC West. That AFC West consists of... Is the AFC West that?
No, the Texans, the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars were all in the same division.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the Denver Broncos.
Oh, you're talking about the Broncos with... Okay. See, I see where you're going. You're being manipulative.
I'm not being manipulative. I'm just saying what you said. You said that the Broncos are going to win the division. And they do have arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL. Yes or no? Yes or no? And you're not going to...
I'm not indicting myself.
Okay, but I'm just going to say this. And I want you to remember this. Daniel Jones has 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers.
We're 2 weeks into the season. Everybody calm the fuck down.
I hope he throws for like 4 passing touchdowns, 475 yards next week, and just lights it. Do the Giants play the Colts?
No.
They have to change. They have to change the schedule. They have to make the Giants play the Colts one game.
Oh, the Giants have the hardest schedule in the NFL. The Colts would never be on that list because the Colts aren't that good.
Yo, you gotta chill, man. You gotta relax.
Chill. I've been hearing this shit for the last 2 weeks, and now I continues to hear it. I brought it up out of the kindness of my heart. Feat that no other NFL team has done. I give them props. I give Daniel Jones props for these first 2 games. But let's say what it is. They're still a mediocre football team. Daniel Jones is still a mediocre quarterback. And they will fizzle.
You seem very pissed off.
No, I'm not. No. Let's move on.
Well, there's a lot of things that we could talk about. We could go on to the injury bug that happened this week, which seemingly, I feel like it happens all the time in week 2, to where everyone just like dies, pretty much. Or we can talk about baseball.
We can talk very quickly. If you want to just do a quick segment, tell us who got injured, tell us how sucky those teams are now, and tell us if they have any chance of moving forward.
Well, first of all, Jesus Christ. First of all, we got J.J. McCarthy. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks with the ankle injury. But mind you, the motherfucker got killed on national television. I feel like he was actually going to die because he had no time in the pocket.
2 to 4 weeks, not to mention on his same team, Derek, Aaron Jones going on to IR, so he's going to miss at least 4 games.
Yeah. And then going to the AFC, there's Mr. Joe Shiesty, who's out for what we said 2 to 3 months. There is Jaden Daniels, who's potentially out this week.
They're going to evaluate him on a week-to-week basis. I believe what I remember, if I remember correctly, it's a knee sprain.
Jaden Reed on the Green Bay Packers, he's out for, I think, a month. or 2.
I think it was 4 to 6 weeks with a broken collarbone.
Yeah, he broke his collarbone. He's out.
It wasn't this week in particular, but we could always go back to Purdy and Kittle being out on San Fran. Huge blows to them. They continue to have injury woes on the offensive side of the ball. It's actually a miracle that team is
Alive.
I mean, look, they're 2-0, so
Yeah. And this is one like good thing about like players. Well, one player who's coming back, Xavier Worthy, who everyone thought was done for a good amount of time, could potentially be back this upcoming week against the Giants. So,
right.
I didn't even mean it like that. It's just obviously he dislocated his shoulder, but he's still good. He's trying to come back.
No, it's okay. Rub salt in the damn wound. Fucking prick.
I'm not trying to be a prick. It's just how I am, man. All right, but overall, these injuries, for once, you can't blame it on like it's not like one of those injuries where you could blame it on the turf. You could blame it on these injuries just happen. It's hard to even say. And then there is one player who got hurt, who entered Justin Fields. That's who it was. Justin Fields, who went through concussion protocol. I don't know if he has a concussion yet. I don't think the Jets have came out and said anything about it, but he did get evaluated for it. This week, we'll obviously see if he practices or if he failed concussion protocol to where he's out for 4 weeks. Because I believe a concussion now is your minimum out for 4 weeks. I thought it was. I swear, I thought it was. They changed the length of concussion now.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I don't think it's that. We could skip that. I don't think it's 4 weeks, but whatever.
Okay. But overall, injury bugs hits the NFL and week 2, which seems to be what happening every year. But hopefully this year it could be not as many injuries for big players. And I didn't watch this game. Is it bad for me? Did Brock Bowers play?
He did.
Did he do anything?
I mean, the Raiders' offense really didn't do anything. Geno Smith looked absolutely pitiful at quarterback, which nobody could have expected that. But the Raiders really just got completely shut down in that game. And on top of that, right, the Chargers' defense just looked that good against them. So he's going to be fine moving forward. Brock Bowers is a tough kid.
Okay. All right, well, that is my little quick segment. Now we could segue into a sport that we do love.
Yes. No, I think it's worth talking about just as we do come up to the final, which is crazy to say out loud, the final 2 weeks of the MLB season here. So a lot of the playoff picture is starting to be finalized. I think more or less I just wanted to talk about, potential playoff matchups, potential playoff picture, which in the NL is a crazy whirlwind right now on the wild card side of things, even in the AL. But really just wanted to kind of reiterate a couple of things. Derek, I do know that me and you are both Yankees fans. Given that, they've been trying to claw at that top spot in the division, it looks like the Toronto Blue Jays, bearing some sort of absolute collapse in the next, whatever it is, 14 games, the Toronto Blue Jays should be winning the division. So got to give them props for that, right? They outlasted the Yankees, where the Yankees have had a lot of different times in this season where they just didn't look right, where they went on bad losing streaks. The big thing in the AL is so the wild card standings are crazy. The Yankees, Boston, and Houston all vying for those 3 spots. And then you have Cleveland and Texas right on their heels, 3 games back of Houston and Boston. But really, this wild card isn't that crazy. I think the big thing here is, for us Yankee fans, we are trending directly towards a collision course in the first round with the Boston Red Sox. And that is going to make me have a stroke. Because there's no other way to put this. Either the Yankees are going to win that series in 5 games, because the first one is out of 5. Actually, the wild card. No, yeah. Yes, out of 5.
I thought it was 3.
I'm pretty sure the final wild card spot game is out of 3. I could be wrong. I'll double check it. They've been like changing it the last few years. Or the Yankees are going to get swept. There's no in betweens there, right? The Yankees are not that great of a team. They just really aren't. They're just kind of coasting at this point. Their bullpen is horrific. Just absolutely pitiful from the top down. I cannot stress this enough. absolute garbage. A AAA team could put together a better bullpen at this rate, right? Just because of what they've been doing. Their lineup has inconsistencies all over it. Really, their only bright spot is their starting pitching, which usually fails come postseason time. So, we have a lot to look forward to as Yankees fans because the inevitable downfall is coming shortly. So we're looking forward to that. But the one thing I wanted to discuss, and I know me and you can go a little bit back and forth on this, Derek, is the NL Wildcard, which is an absolute fucking dogfight for the final spot, right? The Chicago Cubs have the first spot pretty much locked up. They're up 9.5 games. Nobody's touching that. The San Diego Padres, not really anybody touching that in the 2 spot. It's the 3rd spot where the New York Mets hold it right now, but the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Giants are all 2 games back of them. So simply put, Derek, I gotta ask you, are the New York Metropolitans making the playoffs?
Fuck no. They don't deserve it. They're god-awful. I am so sorry. And this is the one person who I'm apologizing for is Nicky in the Bronx. That poor guy is on death row. They are playing the worst baseball I've ever seen in my fucking life. They are, I believe they've been swept maybe 3 straight series. I could be horribly wrong. But they've been...
They were bad. They're 2-8 in their last 10. And they were on a 7-game losing streak.
Which is, oh my god, god-awful. And mind you, this team always signed Juan Soto. Oh my god. Woo! You have 77 wins. You're damn near even this year. And you were projected to be up there with the Dodgers. Let's just say this. If you end up versing the Dodgers in some way, somehow, I understand last year you guys kept it close. You are going to get belt to ass. It is going to be bad.
Well, that 3rd wild card spot is looking very likely that it will play the Dodgers in that first wild card round because the Philadelphia Phillies and the Brewers have those 2 top spots. No, I wouldn't say pretty much locked up, but they're running away with it where they both have 90 wins. The Dodgers only have 84. The Dodgers need to worry about their own division, mind you, right? Because the Padres are only 2 games back. I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to say they're going to make the playoffs simply because the teams behind them are not good either. The Cincinnati Reds are not good.
I hope they make it, though.
The Cincinnati Reds are not good. They've had so many opportunities, specifically on a 7-game losing streak by the New York Mets to make up ground. What have the Cincinnati Reds done in their last 10? 5-5. Right? That's just not playoff comeback baseball where you can make a difference. San Francisco Giants 4-6 in their last 10. Arizona 6-4. Like none of these teams, it's crazy. It seems like none of these teams want it. Like they're just playing for the hell of it, and if they make it into the last spot, so be it. We're gonna get fucking raped by the Dodgers. Who cares?
It is bad baseball. Just bad baseball teams. And one thing I will say, as a Yankee fan, I don't like the Mets. I just don't like them. Obviously, they signed Juan Soto. Juan Soto. And that pissed me off to umpteenth degree. So I have no remorse for them. I hope they don't make the playoffs. I understand you're a very smart baseball person. You understand, they're way better. They had their chance. But because I kind of segued and said that they weren't going to make it, I think the team that will make it is the Diamondbacks.
See, the issue with the Diamondbacks is, and I got it pulled up, don't you worry, their schedule remaining is absolutely death row. Right? They got 2 more, including tonight. I haven't checked the score tonight, against San Francisco, which is obviously vying for them for that spot. Then you got 3 against Philly. Then you got 3 against the Dodgers. And then you got 3 against the Padres.
They're set up for failure.
It's an absolute fucking gauntlet of what you have to go through. So if we're going to go the route of which remaining schedule is the least toughest, right? The Mets have a few against the Padres, but then they got Washington, who's crap. They got the Cubbies, who are good, but then they end up on Miami, who's crap. So you want to give them the edge there just because of their strength of schedule remaining, which isn't good, right? You look at some other teams that are remaining, like, for example, you want to look at the Reds. They got the Cubs remaining. They got Milwaukee remaining, who are top 2 teams in their division. And then they have the Pirates, who are also crap. So it's tough to go by. If you're going by talent, sure, right? I could see another team winning. Maybe the Diamondbacks have a little bit more of a complete team. But then if you go more a little bit into the logistics side of things, it would be disgraceful based on strength of schedule for the Mets to not make the playoffs at this juncture. And even so, look, Mets fans, it doesn't matter. You're going to lose first round to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So try and enjoy the final 10 games you have left in the regular season.
I hope they get swept by the Nationals. Oh, that would make my year.
They're not swept by the Nationals.
One thing I will say, though, which is, I hate to even say this, congratulations to Mr. Juan Soto for, I believe it's 40 home runs this year, and I believe it's stolen bases.
30 stolen bases.
Yes, 30 stolen bases.
40 home runs, 30 stolen bases, over 100 walks.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Very good for you, Juan Soto, but go fuck yourself.
Okay.
Is there anything more we can talk about baseball? Because I'm just saying, in 2 weeks, Dean, we reveal how we did in our predictions, which I honestly think I did dreadful.
Well, I'm going to be fair here. I have not looked at them in a while. However, I just know that I'm a piece of garbage.
That is fair. That's a fair assessment.
I don't even know where I wrote them down. I'm going to have to find that. But we're going to figure it out in 2 weeks when we're at the last, juncture of the season. We will most definitely do more than one segment on baseball because it's playoff baseball coming up, right? We're coming up to October, the best time of the year, undisputed. I don't care what anybody says. You got the start of hockey, you got the start of basketball, you got playoff baseball, and you got NFL football, not to mention college football. I mean, this is just undisputed, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
I agree, because it is a great time.
So I cannot wait for it. We're going to talk about it extensively. Don't you worry, everybody. But yeah, I think that's it from me on the baseball front as of now. Definitely just wanted to go over a couple of those wild card scenarios.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we brought baseball. Baseball, we did say numerous times, is arguably our favorite sport.
Yep.
So it's good to bring it back. It's going to be brought back a lot more in the coming weeks. But unfortunately, I'm going to put baseball to bed for a bit. I'm going to go back to the NFL for a second. Because I have to ask you a specific question.
Cool, let's get to it.
There's 2 running backs, rookie running backs, who are implemented into lineups, in fantasy lineups. Omario Hampton and Travion Henderson. They were obviously brought in, and they had a lot of high hopes of them. Should fantasy owners, or should even teams, be worried about these two players?
It is only week 2, right? I do want to reiterate what you just said, because I feel like not only just with rookies, everything gets blown out of proportion when it comes to the first couple of weeks of the season where everybody's exaggerating on everything. Both of these rookie running backs, it looks like they're being eased in by their coaching staff, right? You have 2 extremely veteran coaches, right, in Vrabel and then Harbaugh. So they know exactly what they're doing with their offenses. You saw it happen this week with the Patriots, where they clicked much better than week 1. And to be fair, the Miami's definitely a weaker team. So I don't want to go too crazy there, and they're definitely getting better as the season goes on. 3 carries is not exactly encouraging for Travion. So I do want to stress this enough in the beginning before I even put up stats. Both of these, in my opinion, are absolutely must-sits until further notice. I don't think either one of them should really be in the conversation of starting, bearing, bye weeks come week 5, 6, 7, bearing injuries that you have on your fantasy team. I just don't see any reason why you would start either of these. Hampton definitely has a little bit better of an outlook just because of what he's been, just because of what he's done over the first couple of weeks. So I do want to stress that as well. It's, obviously you kind of go through it where he did have 15 carries in the Chiefs game. Definitely downgraded that against the Raiders, where the only thing with the Raiders is I just don't think there was in their game plan. They didn't really need to do that. They kind of just dominated the whole game. They didn't need to rely heavily on one thing or another. You can continue.
No, you mean the Chargers, because you said accurate.
Versing the Raiders. Yes. Sorry, mixing up the teams. But they were versing the Raiders, right? They really didn't need to do anything against the Raiders. The Chargers didn't, because they kind of completely dominated this Monday night game. So if you're going to lean one, yes, Hampton definitely has the bigger upside just because of his usage so far this year and because of the offense in general, right? Any offense that is run by Harbaugh, they're going to be run heavy. Any offense with leading by Justin Herbert, they're going to be good or good enough. I just think they're relying a little bit too heavily on the passing game now, so that's why you kind of hold off on Hampton. Trayvion's a different story, right? He's not getting the workload, and the Patriots are still in that rebuilding mode. So you got if you have Trayvion, I'd sit him on the bench, roll with the punches, and hope that his workload increases over the next few weeks as they progress.
Yeah, I saw I had to bring him up because in most, say, dynasty leagues or most leagues, they both were drafted moderately high. So I just thought we had to bring up a little dabble of fantasy in for a bit.
No, that's fine. And if I'm going to say it, besides Genty, because he was the obvious one that went first round in most leagues, Scadabo's probably the best rookie to start going into week 3, if you had to think about it. Rookie running back, that is, not receiver.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best rookie running back to start going to week 3 because his usage tripled in this last week with the Giants, and I think they're going to continue that moving forward just because of how electric he is on the offensive side of the ball.
They have their little Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs 1-2 punch, which is what Dean and most Giants fans want him back. Little compliment to the Giants.
My little Scatabo.
Jesus Christ. Dean, is there any more topics you would like to talk about before we segue into our picks?
I think we can most happily go into our picks now, where I am guaranteeing a better pick week than you.
You're guaranteeing?
Guaranteeing it.
We need, please, editor, clip this.
Yeah, no, editor, put a nice little guarantee sign on the screen in nice bold letters. A Dean guarantee.
Jesus Christ. Well, Dean, who would you like to start first, me or you?
You're the winner. You start first, sir.
Okay. I'm going to go with a game that's happening on Thursday night. I'm going with a gimme game because I do not see this game being remotely close. I'm choosing the Buffalo Bills minus 12.5 against the Miami Dolphins. I know it's 12.5. I know it could be risky. It's a divisional game. But honestly, I could see them blowing them out by 30 because the Bills have looked increasingly good and the Dolphins look shit.
It's a lot of points, Derek.
But I'm not saying that's my alternate spread. I am going to give my alternate spread. My alternate spread would be 17.5. Because I'm sorry, I don't see the Dolphins doing anything productive against that team. So that is my first pick.
Good for you, I guess, man. To be fair, I'm going to go a little bit of a big spread as well going into this. I'm going to go the Bucs against the Jets, -7. It's a touchdown. However, with the issues that Justin Fields, that are surrounding Justin Fields going into this week with a concussion protocol, even if he does play, who knows if he's 100%. And if I'm being completely real with everybody listening out there, I have no clue who the Jets' backup is.
Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, so yeah. I'm taking the Bucs -7.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick. But it all depends. Let's just say this, because you're taking it now, but if Justin Fields gets cleared to play, it's going to be a closer game.
No, if Justin Fields gets cleared to play, I take the Bucs minus 14.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. I like it, Dean. I respect it. I'm going to go to my next pick. It's another easy one, in my eyes.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers minus 7.5 against the Cleveland Browns. No alternate spread. I think they just win by maybe 10. I don't see them blowing them out. I don't think the Browns are going to get blown out this week after getting decimated by the Ravens. I do think it's going to be a good game from a majority of the game until towards the tail end to where the Packers just take over.
Okay. I like it. I didn't have any of these last week, so I need to implement them this week. I'm going to go a plus. I'm going to go an underdog. I am taking the Las Vegas Raiders plus 3.5 over the Washington Commanders. A lot of stigma around Jaden Daniels and his knee. Is he going to be mobile? Is he not going to be mobile? Plus, on top of that, I think, and I've seen, the Commanders take a slight step back from last year. I'm not saying full. I'm not saying they're the worst team in the world. I'm just saying a slight step back. I think the Raiders have a little bit of a bounce back week with under Pete Carroll. I think they get the offense going a little bit. I think they still lose, but I think they lose a field goal or less.
That's not. I like it, Dean. I like it.
Shut up.
I like your little pluses.
I don't like you.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go. I'm going with a plus.
Oh.
It's a very reluctant plus, honestly.
Good for you.
But for some weird reason, I feel like they're going to win this game.
Okay.
The Chargers, with Justin Herbert and Madison Beer, have been playing phenomenal. But Sean Payton and Bo Nix, I have confidence in. And going into this week, the Chargers are favored plus 2.5. No, minus 2.5. I'm going to be taking the Denver Donkeys plus 2.5. And I do think they're going to outright win this game by 7 points.
Wow. You know what? I had a different pick in mind. But now I'm going to pivot. I'm taking the Chargers minus 2.5.
Okay.
I think you're completely moronic.
I don't think I'm moronic, honestly. I think because I understand they had a rough week. They did lose by a sketchy call, but I do think the Broncos are a very good team with a very good defense. I think they're going to bounce back and win this game.
Sure, you're entitled to your stupid opinion.
That was you always say that. Shut the fuck up. But correct me if I'm wrong. That is our 3 picks from each of us.
That is our 3 picks.
And I'm going to go into my lock of the week. And my lock of the week is kind of shocking. Because I hate this team. But the reason why I'm going against them is because I might do this every week. I'm picking every team that has to go against the Bears. I'm choosing the Dallas Cowboys to capture their second win against the Chicago Bears and sorry-ass Caleb Williams.
I give you props for this one because the Dallas Cowboys are underdogs right now.
I know.
So I do give you props for this lock. That's bold. That is very bold, especially when you could take a bunch of different other teams that you haven't taken already. So, you know what, Derek? You've gained my respect for the next 10 seconds.
Okay.
Let's count those down.
You son of a bitch.
I am going to go my lock of the week. I'm going to stick with my... It sounds horrible. I'm going to stick with my trend here. I'm going with the team against the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, my God.
I am going the Seattle Seahawks as my lock of the week. They're 7.5-point favorites, but as everybody knows, our lock of the week is a survivor type thing. I don't see, like, honestly, I don't know. I don't see the New Orleans Saints winning a game. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks at home as my lock of the week.
I'd say it's every week. It's the New Orleans Saints. This should be a win for you. But there's no way you're going to go for every team against the Saints.
Well, look, I can't because the Saints play their division 2 times. So it's going to get dicey as the year goes on, but I'm going to take a full advantage of it to begin the year. Full advantage.
I know we don't do this, but I'm going to add it just for this. Just for me. I'm just doing this. And I'm doing an honorable mention for the pick, for like a spread pick. A team that was going to pick, but I'm not going to touch this game because I kind of want to enjoy it. I want, in my heart of hearts, I think that the Giants cover the spread of 6.5. Why is that face?
I'm not giving you a reaction.
Okay. I think that they keep it a 3. I think they do lose, but they lose by 3. I just wanted to say that. It's an honorable mention. Hey, Dean. But we're done with this. We're done with the picks. We're done with the picks. It's fine. You can be mad at me later. It's not now. We are now moving on to Dean.
Baller of the week.
And Dean, for baller of the week, who would you like to start off with?
I can start off with this one.
Okay.
Cool. So, for the first time in a while, I'm going to go outside of the sports realm. I am going to go into the Hollywood realm. Right? It's a baller of the week, and it's an in memoriam packed in one. I know we don't like to do these, but he is such a great actor who passed away this week, Robert Redford, at the age of 89. Starred in one of my favorite baseball movies of all time, The Natural. If anybody hasn't seen it, I would highly recommend go watching it. But this guy has been just an absolute stud within Hollywood for over 50 years. He's been one of the best actors over the last 50 years. Not only that, he created his own studio in Hollywood where a lot of different movies are produced and directed by himself, Robert Redford. Not to mention one of his latest roles, because I know me and Derek, at least particularly, are big Marvel fans. He was an integral part in some of the Marvel movies. Just an absolute phenomenal actor, phenomenal person. Definitely ripped him. 89 years old. That's a great age to live to. I hope I even get close to that. At this rate, I'm not going to after watching my sports teams, but you never know. Wanted to give my flowers to Robert Redford, 89, great actor. Rest in peace.
I do agree. He is a great actor. I can't disagree with that. It's a great bar of the week. Sadly, I'm going to go on the same front of you.
Oh, boy.
Where in memoriam is what you just said.
Yep.
This one is outside of sports, outside of acting. It's kind of an influencer / political world. But I had to bring it up. My bar of the week is Charlie Kirk. Obviously, what happened this past Wednesday, I believe, was traumatic for most kids who were there at the college, for families, for his wife and kids who are witnessing it. I just want to give flowers to what he did. Obviously, this podcast, we don't want to make everything about politics. We don't want to involve politics. But overall, what Charlie Kirk did at the end of the day was he was trying to bring younger kids into politics. He wanted to have all the younger kids have a little more influence than what they did in the past, which I always thought is good to have people speak, have people debate at the end of the day. And one thing that he did in his great career that he had was he created Turning Point, and he was also in Forbes on 30 under 30. And that should just go recognized. Obviously, it is sad. At the age of 31, he died. He was unfortunately shot and killed. But rest in peace, and his legacy will obviously live on through all the people who care about him, even politicians. But rest in peace, and my condolences go out to his family.
Ill-timed, I know. But yes, apologies for our Ball of the Weeks this week. They were in memoriam, definitely on the sadder note. Rip Charlie Kirk, rip Robert Redford, definitely both pioneers within their respective fields. So we wish them and their families the best. We wish the communities the best on both sides of the aisle. So definitely good Ball of the Weeks on both ends of the front. Very, very nice, Derek.
And I promise next week it's going to be positive for Ball of the Week.
We're going to work on it. Unless somebody else dies that was influential in any way, shape, or form, like, for example, Derek, then I'll do this podcast and I'll actually be happy.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
All right, Dean. As we said, rough. It was obviously a rough week for Baller of the Week. It's the sad one. The sad ones being involved. But that does conclude this episode. We spoke a lot about football this week and a little bit of baseball. Next week we will be talking about baseball more, football, more shit going on in football, college football. If there's actually a good game that I kind of want to talk about, we'll talk about. I haven't seen like these little like games that I want to talk about mainly, but does conclude. Like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok. Leave me and Dean messages for mailbags so we have fun with that. Talk about Daniel Jones. Make fun of the Giants. Make fun of the Cowboys. Make fun of the Eagles. I don't give a fuck. Have fun in the comments. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and peace.